Ah, that was good. That was good. No, they're not vegan. Manta rays eat plankton. Plankton are alive. So
Well, some are, some aren't. Well,
Yeah, but no,
Plants are
no,
technically alive.
yes, exactly.
they
Thank,
don't go
Exactly.
hunting brutally
thank you,
like
my
sharks
Jewish
do.
brother.
Yeah, I think plankton are actually, they're not. Plankton is not. Is it considered flora or fauna? That's a good question. Somebody should Google that stuff.
Mhm.
Not it. I just got finished
Yeah,
cutting up a tomato, and
yeah,
I'm literally gonna just eat it plain.
I'm not gonna do it either because
I don't
well,
care
if
that much.
watching SpongeBob SquarePants has taught me anything, is that plankton are definitely not fauna. They are, a living creature. So that shoots down your vegan theory, Tom.
Well, too bad.
That was not a solid rebuttal.
Well, I don't have a solid rebuttal. They don't go hunting brutally and savage other life forms in quite the same way. But as a
I'll
vegan,
have you know that sharks have a killer blow. They're not killer whales that torture seals. Sharks are quick and merciless.
Dolphins do it.
What?
Dolphins torture baby seals.
Yeah, so do killer whales.
But do
And,
they
you know-
do they do it the same way that dolphins do?
Sea lions play. That's not what dolphins do. That's sea otters.
Oh yeah.
But do you think that
I'm
that's
going back to my
Wait.
lunch.
do you think that that's because the more sort of quote unquote intelligent a species is, like we're intelligent, and they say dolphins are what, like the equivalent of a third grader or something like that, and they definitely octopi are. Do you think that's part of it? The more likely you are to torture another species, the more human you are.
well,
That's a good line, Rod.
speaks volumes about us human beings.
Yeah.
We're the
But I
bestest.
agree.
What did Rod say?
If he doesn't have a solid rebuttal, how does he sit? Is a good line. I'm giving him props for that.
I like it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh wow!
Richard, isn't this when you're meant to say, welcome to another edition of the Petty and...
I was going to. I was just letting this one play out, but
It was played out before you started, brother, I think.
Well, welcome to this week's edition of the Petty and Ill-Informed podcast, where we take our petty and ill-informed opinions to a different topic. Joining me, as always, from the Emerald Isle, Kevin.
Woo! It's almost St. Patrick's Day. Get your worst Irish stereotypes ready so that you can put them out there. And just over a week, we can actually make sure you get drunk on green beer and throw up and everything. It's the last stereotypical holiday where you can literally make fun of a class of people. I mean, that's great.
Okay, well, Kevin taking the show's opening to a racist place.
I
Okay.
will listen.
From the sunny slopes of Tennessee, Nikki.
It's not so sunny here. We got snow. We got a lot.
I'm literally at the end of my tenure. Kevin's gone racist. Nikki's been antithetical. All right, from way
I'm always
down south,
that way.
from the southern part of England, Tom.
Yes, I'm here, and I'm pleased to say, Richard, that I am not going to take issue with anything you said, because geographically you've pointed my location pretty well.
Okay, see that, you two jerk-offs? That's how you respond to the intro. All right.
Tom's new. He hasn't learned that he can treat you, however he wants to. Yeah.
I was thinking about this the other day. Do you know what Tom is? Tom is Chubbs 2.0.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
He is. He's our new Chubbs.
He's English Chubbs.
He is. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
He's
Did he
got a
meet?
positive can-do attitude, and has never anything mean to say anything about anyone. Tom's the new Chubbs.
No, and all I have to say about that is I'm not being racist by saying anything about St. Patrick's Day. I'm just saying that I'm just.
It's just a joke, man.
Then
know,
why are
but
you putting on that racist accent, Kevin?
every time,
Everyone knows
listen.
you're not Irish.
Well, yeah, of course.
You know,
Now listen. Every when I was growing up in Northern Ireland and Ireland, we did not celebrate St. Patrick's Day in the way that Americans do. We just didn't. We didn't. We went for a nice wee meal or something like that, and that was it. You had a nice day off. You didn't get drunk, fall over. All I'm saying is that from that standpoint, now Ireland's got St. Patrick's festivals now where people get drunk and fall down and everything like that. Now, I'm just saying that is the last place. You could not have another race of people. You could not take another race. I mean, so you couldn't have drunken Indian days or things like that. That's all I'm saying. and the fact of the matter is that it's the bad behavior that you're supposed to be proud of. Everybody is Irish on St. Patrick's Day, and by Irish we mean get drunk and fall down and puke all over people.
It's funny. Go on, you first, Nikki.
Rod wants to know, would it be racist to say we're all after your Lucky Charms? I don't think that Kevin, should have to answer that. Of course it's not racist.
I will say
we
this.
all are.
No, I would
Charms.
say no. Listen, and I'll say this: Crocs in America came out with an edition of Crocs with Lucky Charms. No, you can get a pair of Crocs with the Lucky Charms guy on them, and I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get those.
It's funny, Kevin. What I was going to say was you might think that if you poke fun at your own kind, you can't be accused of being racist. But I tried that once and failed miserably. Here's what happened. I'm climbing Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa with my dad and a party of climbers and guides and helpers. It was great. And we made it to the top, by the way, and it was for charity. It was awesome. And that was about, say, 2006, maybe. Now, we're going up there, and a joke that I heard, a really unpleasant joke came to mind. And I thought, well, if I make it about the joke I was told was, what do you throw a drowning Welshman? And I thought, well, what if I change it to sort of my own kind and myself? Then I'll probably get away with it. And so I said, what do you throw a drowning Cockney, everyone? And they said, I don't know. And I said, his wife and kids. And they all looked at me in shock horror. That's really out of order, Tom. That's really bad. I went, oh, but I'm a Cockney. I'm taking the mick out myself. It's only a joke anyway. What's the matter with you all? And they went, oh, you're a Cockney, are you?
Give us some rhyming slag.
Were you born within the sound of the bells? And I was like,
Bow bells.
You're only a Cockney if you were born within the sound of bow bells. Now, were you?
Yeah, and give us some slang. Give us some rhyming slang. Come on.
What, me?
Yeah.
Well, I suppose I better go and check on the trouble and strife in a minute. Head up the apples and pears.
Everyone knows those.
Everyone knows apples, and yeah, everybody knows those.
That does not mean that he's not a Cockney just because he knows the ones that everybody knows.
That's like you need to get on your trotters to the Carsey, or else you'll be bleeding claret everywhere.
Yeah. Okay. Or so, like I said, there's Glasgow's rhyming slang as well. And
okay, how about this one?
Cumbrian rhyming slang
Niki,
as well.
I don't know why I bother being friends with all you Americans. I mean, the way you water tanks talk, I can't understand a Thora heard any of you says Darren fucking Dayin.
That's some good slang right there.
That is some good slang.
Yeah.
Using your lemon right there.
Self-explanatory. Yeah.
Speaking of
Did you see that on the custard?
Yeah. Speaking of rhyming slang and ducking and diving and people like that, people that have been on, like the Football Factory and stuff, Danny Dyer takes it to Grey this week on EastEnders.
We're not allowed to talk about EastEnders on the show anymore. Nikki's kicked off.
Oh.
I did not kick off.
She totally kicked off. She had me this week. She was like, if you talk about EastEnders again on the show, I swear to God. Okay, we're not allowed to talk about it anymore.
Okay. Even though Trish almost died.
Oh God.
We're not allowed to talk about it, Kevin.
Okay, all right.
I have promised that I will watch a few episodes and catch up and see if I'm interested. But to me, a soap opera is a soap opera.
Nikki, you have my deepest sympathy for what you're about to endure.
All right, so we've got Rod, we've got Will, we've got A Space NG, we've got Gabby as always in the chat, and we've got SoFlo. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, but we're not allowed to talk about it anymore, Kevin.
I didn't say that.
Nikki got very upset.
I did not.
She sent me a poison pen letter and was very clear about the fact that we are not allowed to discuss EastEnders on the show, especially how awesome Thursday's episode was. But
well, all I'll say is it is sort of a niche market. Although I will say there's probably a lot more people who like EastEnders than this show.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
But we've got our 30 or 40 fans, and I appreciate all of you.
Absolutely.
Every last one. And Thursday's episode was dynamite. It's very rare that they wrap up a storyline in such a satisfactory manner, but that's all we can say about it. Otherwise, Nikki will kick off again.
Yeah.
I once watched a documentary about EastEnders. It was not long after. What was Den Watts' son, the one who went out with Sharon for a bit?
Dennis.
Yeah, Dennis. It was not long after Dennis had returned, and we watched this documentary, and it replayed clips of an episode, and had the actress who played Sharon saying, literally, she's got no one around her. They're going after Billy. They're going after Dennis. She's really isolated, and I just suddenly hit me like, who are you kidding that this is actually something historically and socially significant? I mean, you may as well make a documentary series. I mean, Thomas the Tank Engine has greater historical significance than EastEnders. I mean, it's...
Unfortunately, Tom, you're a vegan, so your opinion means very little.
Oh, what my opinion on any subject matter is totally invalidated.
It's like listening to three old biddies talk about their shows. And that's generally at least.
What did she say?
See, this is what happened. This is what I'm talking about.
At least in the
we talked about
EastEnders. These are old women that talk about their shows and their stories.
We talked about EastEnders and she's kicking off. You see what I mean? This is what I'm talking about. This is why we can't talk about EastEnders anymore.
Why? Because I'm just gonna make fun of you relentlessly.
She's getting mad. Listen to her. She's kicking off. Because of her, female hormones. Right. All right. So, apart from EastEnders, do we have anything else to discuss?
Well, all I've said is kudos to Tom, because if I'm the kind of sick individual who would actually try to bring up EastEnders and then have a conversation with it, knowing that Nikki was bothered by it. But Tom actually pulled it off, and Tom is not, I don't think, as sort of psychologically damaged as I am whenever it comes to bringing stuff up for the purposes of driving Nikki crazy. So from that standpoint, Richard and Kevin are very proud of Tom right now. It's 1-0 to Tom.
Yeah, Tom's doing great, respecting Nikki's wishes and pissing on EastEnders because we don't want to make her unhappy. Thursday night's episode was dynamite, though. I just want that written down. Okay, moving on.
That's not a good week to not talk about it, but anyway, let's just move. What are we moving on to?
No, go ahead and talk about it.
No, I don't want to piss you off.
You're not upsetting me. I just think
you are clearly angry. I can hear your voice.
Hey, is anybody aware of the fact that the price of petrol went up? Did anybody notice that?
Oh, it's massive.
Yeah.
My friends
I now work 1 day a week to pay for the other 3 days a week that I can work, like for gas.
Yeah.
Like 1 whole day of work pays for a tank of gas that will last me a week.
I love the fact that everybody talks about that relentlessly. And
it's the best.
It is. It's very expensive. It's very expensive. But all I'm saying is British people, if they were tit for tat, if they had the price of American gasoline in Britain right now, they'd be over the moon. Because it would have gone down from where it was. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't know what it works out to be. What does it work out to be a gallon and sort of what are you paying by the liter now?
Kevin, about a week ago, me and my friend Jenny from Alabama. She was complaining about the prices of it, and I checked it out, did like price comparisons across currencies, and they said, and it turned out to be double. So Jenny was like, okay, I guess I better stop whinging then.
Yeah, but it always is double. That's my point. I remember whenever I go back, sometimes I get, like I rent a nice little Audi or something like that, with a big motor in it. And people look at
something that's sporty and shaped like a penis.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's the way it goes. I like to have an Audi whenever I'm traveling in Northern Ireland. There's nothing wrong with that. All I'm saying is that people do look at you like you're made out of money then at that point in time, because I'm not rocking the 1.6 liter Fiesta. So, which gets 50 miles a gallon. But that's the problem with it is it's expectations. You know what I'm saying? All I'm saying is some people would be happy to have that, but you can't. I mean, if you're driving a truck the size of a small school bus, that's your problem. That might have something to do with it.
A space NG welcoming Gabby to her 40s. You're only 29, A space NG. You were pretty definite about that the last time we discussed your age. So, don't know what you know about it. What else is going in the chat?
Oh, and happy birthday, Gabby.
Well, who's 40?
Gabby is.
Oh, not Angie.
No.
Oh.
She is 29, and that is her age. And she was very definite about that.
Yeah. My mom was 29 her whole life. Yeah, that's good. There's something about what is it about 29 that women want to stay at? That's what I want to know. What is it about that age of 29?
I'm happy staying at 35.
I know, but what is it about the 20? Is it the 30 is like you're 30?
Exactly. Me and Niki are almost 40 now. I mean, there's no big deal.
Yeah.
How old are we all, guys?
Well, I'm 50.
Me and Niki are 37.
I mean,
we're 1 day apart, like literally 1 day apart.
I'm 43.
That's right. Sometimes I wondered about that, Tom, because I thought he gets way too many of my references to be as young as these two whippersnappers.
I hit 30 like a Mack truck. Like I did not cope well with 30, so I'm hoping I take 40 a lot better. And my dad said 40 was a lot easier than 30 for him.
Well, yeah, because it's already
hit 30.
You're already going downhill at that point. Whenever you get to 50, then you just realize you're old and sort of, just don't have to worry about it no more. At
53.
I will have to say that, from my standpoint, I really do give a lot less F's about what people think the older I get. So I'm really looking forward to the fact that whenever you get to be 50, Richard, what you will be like, because you really give very little F's now, and sort of Niki gives absolutely no F's.
Wait, you think that I'm worse than Richard?
In a way,
it's true. I am an angel in comparison to.
Well,
Niki,
all I'm saying is, Niki, you're more of a. You're a stealth person, but you just address it. Richard is not in the smooth way of a woman being able to just drop in the sort of backhanded F, whereas you're a master at it. You're the master at the backhanded. I don't give an F.
That's true.
So yeah,
I'm a verbal assassin.
Niki is way worse than me. Thank you for pointing that out, Kevin.
Yeah. Just calling it the way I see it. And I hope
so, Will, because I did not take to 30 to well. I got blind drunk and me and my friends stole a couch.
Stole a couch?
Yeah, we stole a sofa. That was my 30th birthday.
From where?
I went to New Orleans.
Where did you steal a couch from? No, hold on a wee
second.
My
neighbor.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. What was it, in their back garden or what?
No, it was
You went
no,
into their house and stole it,
yeah, it,
breaking and entering.
it was breaking and entering, burglary, the whole thing.
Right.
Just it was not a good. It's I'm very grateful that my neighbour at the time was as understanding as he was. He was
Yeah.
an older gentleman, and when I was like, "Yeah, it was my 30th birthday," he was like, "I completely understand. Just pay me for the window, and we'll and return the sofa. Pay for the window. We'll call it squaresies." He was very understanding, and I'm very
Yeah,
lucky about that.
you don't get people like that anymore. Salt of the earth. Somebody that just says to themselves, "Listen, I've had a life too." You think that's why it is? You think that that's what it is, that people are so, not cool about shit. Because old people are genuinely usually pretty cool about shit.
Yeah,
You know what I
have you
mean?
seen that video of that Scottish guy who got drunk and fell asleep in someone else's house, and they just like made him coffee and breakfast in the morning?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, that's what
he
I'm
just
saying.
he just got new friends.
Well, been there, done. You know what I mean? Been there, done that. That's all I'm saying. But all I'm saying is that people who have lived a life are usually pretty understanding of other people doing stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's the other ones that have sort of lived this like sort of closed off lifestyle, and they've never done anything, been anywhere. And I mean, they talk about it like they have, but even whenever they go somewhere, it's you're going to some island where it's like you're set aside from people. You've never been around genuine people. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then all of a sudden it's just like, like I don't know. I'm probably making too much out of it. I'm probably
In my defence, it was a really nice sofa.
yeah.
Just
But
on that.
how did you know that sofa was there? Had you been in the house?
He made such a big deal about it. He'd bought it from Debenhams. He'd paid Debenhams prices. Tom is the only one who'll get that reference. And
Oh yeah, because I'm just a bug Irishman, and I wouldn't fucking get. I mean, I wouldn't get that.
but it was like it was
I-
one of those sofas that went around on a right angle, and me and Russ and Scott we had oh god, it was this whole thing. And then we finally got it into the house, and like the next day, he knocks on my door and he just stares at me, and I'm like, "I'll pay for the window, obviously, because I didn't want the police to get involved, but did not go well." 30th birthday. What was your 30th like?
I didn't sit around worrying about whether something looked like an isosceles triangle. That's for sure. You are the biggest nerd on the fucking face of the planet, Richard.
I tell him that all the time, and
Listen,
he doesn't listen to me.
listen, I might be a nerd, but I'm not a weeb. So, that's
It's not just that he's like a nerd. He's like somehow younger, chronologically, but on the inside he's like an old man. Like his hobbies are geriatric, and
Well,
it's like super sweet. But
Well,
what am I
he's a
on a
huge flippin' nerd.
geriatric?
what? I
I
mean,
like rowing, I like fishing, I like going for walks, I like
Uh-huh.
bird watching.
He
ferret
likes
hunting.
bird watching.
That's all youthful endeavors.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. all of those.
that was youthful as a character from Last of the Summer Wine.
Oof,
Yeah.
that hurts.
I'm serious. Bird watching is not a youthful pursuit. I'm sorry.
Well, it bloody should be. Birds are interesting.
I mean,
You know,
anything that you wear an anorak for?
I don't wear an anorak for bird watching.
Oh yeah, bullshit.
Richard, let me cut to the chase. If I got my pupils to draw a picture of somebody based on those hobbies, you would have a bloke sat on a park bench with a thermos flask between his knees, a walking stick that he's just about managed to balance enough so that it doesn't fall over and smack himself in the nuts, and a pipe with Swan Vestas box of lighters beside it. So, face it, dude, you're old.
I respectfully disagree. There is nothing more useful than following a sparrowhawk back to its nest
Yeah.
and not getting too close because otherwise you'll be violently attacked.
I'm surprised that you weren't like violently attacked all throughout school.
I was violently attacked throughout.
Oh,
Why do you think I am the way that I am?
We're all perfectly aware of the way you are, sir.
That was really good crying. Quality. Anyway, look, there's nothing wrong with bird watching, all right? There are some awesome species that migrate to England at this time of year. We had a Gryphalcon this year. That was fucking awesome. We got red kites have repopulated. All our birds of prey are doing amazing. We had a bearded vulture 2 years ago. A bearded vulture in England. That was amazing. Stop it.
I actually have video of Richard looking at a train. Hold on. I'm gonna play the sign from it. I recorded Richard looking at a train. Here we go.
Here, I'm finally gonna get a heritage unit on camera. Yeah. All right. Look at that, a 1953 E8. Woo-hoo! Oh yeah, listen to that bell. Yeah, listen to that bell. Oh, take a
You're
look
right,
at that.
Will. You're right, Will.
Oh my
Nut
God!
hatches are awesome.
That's Richard seeing a
I do not train spot. All right.
Oh.
Okay,
Wrong
but
with bird. All right. Well, you know what? Everyone can shut up. All right. Your hobbies include getting high and playing Dungeons and Dragons, Niki. Your hobbies, Tom, include eating no products based on any animal exploitation whatsoever. And you, Kevin, I'm just plain sick of you.
yeah,
So I
well,
won't be
right.
bloody
All I
mocked
do
by
is-
any of you.
I just eat pussy and have heart attacks.
Richard, you've just appointed yourself morale officer on our metaphorical starbug.
Oh.
You know when Rimmer does
There's-
that and just goes nuts at everybody. You know what it is about listening that really makes me want to puke and just takes it in turns to diss them. I'm so sorry we've backed you into such a horrible corner.
I'm just saying there's nothing wrong with bird watching. Birds are awesome.
No,
There are
no,
lots of awesome British species. We got bee eaters 3 years ago. No one ever talks about that.
seriously. No, I think that is. I mean, listen, we've had this conversation before. I think it's a great thing. Do not let anybody get in the. You know, you do. There isn't one of us on this. But listen, I don't know. We could have a. We are all super nerds. That's just the way it is. I mean, there's nothing that about like today. I went to some weird, used thing, used record shop, and I find, 45s from the 80s that were pretty rare, and I was over the moon. You know what I mean? I couldn't get out of there fast enough, and I was like calling all my friends. Ooh, I got this special pressing of Gary Newman's Cars. This is it. The German pressing.
Exactly, Gabby. There's
that-
nothing wrong with murdering thousands of rabbits with ferrets. That's really cool and youthful.
Yeah.
So these people can suck it.
The only thing about ferrets that I'll say is that the scent glands, they smell sort of. That's all. Are they
There's
not?
Johnson's baby bath once every 2 days, and they don't smell anymore.
Oh, really?
If you're that concerned about it.
Well, no, my friend had a ferret when I was growing up. My friend did. So.
No, I like the way they smell. Musty, filled of magnetism. I mean, mostly they only attract female ferrets, but still,
Okay. He's
There's
They
building
apparently
blocks.
attract you too,
He's
you
digging-
freaking
he's-
perverts.
digging a hole for himself. I mean, this is it.
I'm feeling very attacked right now. Okay,
Well,
for my hobbies.
Richard, both my parents and my in-laws' parents are all keen bird watchers. Not long ago, we went for a walk around Rainham Marshes in East London, and it was lovely. We went and stood. Oh, I sent you pictures from it actually.
Yeah.
Terribly grainy ones that you complained about, but then I even left a Fry's peppermint cream bar randomly in the hide for someone to find and enjoy while they're busy watching their starlings.
Well, not just starlings. You've got bitters down there as well now, so it's a good place to go bird watching.
Yeah, it's
and
really
you had a ringed plover as well. They're very nice.
It's really mellow.
Get oyster catchers, knots, and sandpipers up here. It's always nice to go down. I saw a merlin a couple of years ago. That was really cool. Britain's smallest bird of prey.
Oh,
but I can't confirm it because I didn't get a super good look at it. But I'm pretty sure I've seen puffins as well. So plenty of cool species. Go rowing all the time, and keep my eyes out. I'm hoping to see a sea eagle. There was one down Port Carlisle not that long ago. That would be awesome. A white-tailed eagle. You can all suck it, all right? I'm sick of you. You talk now.
What is your problem?
All I was doing is, Richard said to me before the program, he said, listen, I've got a topic today. I've got all four of you and a topic today. So then I thought to myself, how long is it before we actually talk about the topic?
Are you trying to segue? You, Kevin, you're trying to segue.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm trying to help you, brother. That's all I'm saying. I'm just trying to say you like birds and this person.
And onward to the next thing.
Yeah.
And now on to something else.
You know who else likes something else? Everybody. So let's talk about the next thing. And,
take it away, Richard.
Yeah. And I'll take a picture of a pink-tailed eagle for you or something.
Pink-tailed eagle? What's wrong with you? No. White-tailed sea eagle. How hard is that to remember?
But you know why? You know why flamingos are pink? Because they eat the thingies that are pink.
They eat the thingies.
Yeah, they're pink. So therefore, if that's the case, and flamingos can turn pink because they eat some sort of a shrimpy thing, then technically you could turn any white feathered thing into a pink feathered thing. That's all I'm saying.
Richard, the last time I felt that anything I say could possibly upset somebody as confidently as I can with you right now, I was in an abusive relationship.
That sums up the last 20 years of my life with Niki. Quite accurately. Only we're both the abusers. We won't be happy until one of us convinces the other one to commit suicide.
Right. You've got a real cat and Alfie thing going on.
As a joke.
As a goof. Just as a laugh. All right. Let's move on to the topic. Kim Blandino. Oh, this is a good one. It starts in the 1990s with a man named Kim Blandino.
It's a man, not a woman.
Yeah. His full name's Kimberly. He hates it, apparently. But I went to school with a Kimberly. He didn't like it either. It's not really a unisex name. I don't know why parents do that. Anyway, he was getting a divorce. He lost this divorce, by which I mean he lost his kids. So he decided to do what any reasonable, intelligent man who had lost his children would do, and that would be to kidnap them, change their names, and tell them their mother had died of spiritual cancer.
I can see a couple of flaws in that plan.
This is the...
Can you define spiritual cancer?
That's a real thing with doctors and everything, right?
With doctors and everything.
Doctors and everything.
This is the essential je ne sais quoi of Kim Blandino, is that he is a religious fanatic, but his religion seems to be himself.
Oh,
And I'm
so it's
talking.
a cult.
It's a one-man worship me cult, of which Mr. Blandino is the only member, and he worships himself. He says he's a Christian.
Hmm.
That's a load of crap. No Christian man would do the kinds of things that this man has done. But that lays the foundation for Kim Blandino. Now, he chose to represent himself because he believes himself to be a legal genius. I don't mean like a legal genius in the same way that sovereign citizens consider themselves to be legal geniuses, because this is completely different. He uses completely different tactics. What he does is he filibusters and he delays. And when he doesn't get his own way, he files motions to disqualify the judge. And this worked for him in civil trial. In civil cases, this worked for him. He managed to disqualify judges, and he managed to bankrupt his ex-wife through civil cases via manipulating the system. I'm not a lawyer, so I can't give you the specifics. For specifics, you want to go to the YouTube channel Artie's Corporate Fiction. He did a deep dive on Kim Blandino. The link to that is in the description of this podcast. So that's what he did. Fast forward 20 years, he gets pulled over for a speeding ticket, right? We've all been speeding tickets. We've all been there, I assume.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's
What do you do when you get a speeding ticket?
Start yelling at the loudest mind that you can and tell them it's stupid.
Yeah.
Unbutton a few of my top buttons. Cry.
Tell them that you pay their salary. They love that.
Well, obviously you do all of those things, but eventually you pay them the ticket.
Yes.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
pay the ticket, you move on with your life.
Right.
Not Kim Blandino. Kim Blandino took his traffic ticket to traffic court, and he lost. And rather than just going, okay, well, I lost this case, best move on with my life, he started a one-man crusade against the judge in that trial, Judge Federico. He started sending him letters. He started following him to his personal office. He started basically extorting him for financial gain. Now, we're all people of a certain intelligence on this show. What happens if you extort a judge?
You go to jail.
Yes and no.
You get elected to the Stormont Parliament in Northern Ireland.
Edgy, like it. Tom, what do you think?
Struggling to come up with something beyond the mundane.
They paid it.
Okay, well, what happened was he was arrested. He was arrested for extortion and impersonating a judicial officer. He basically told Judge Federico, and this is the best line, this is what hooked me, that he was an unofficial, unpaid, voluntary investigator for the judicial, for the Judicial Investigatory Committee in Nevada.
How much of those does that even exist, or did he just make up an entire institution?
No, the judicial investigation thing actually exists in Nevada, but he said that he was a voluntary, unpaid, unofficial member of this.
That's
which is technically true,
Yeah.
while being false at the same time.
Well, what's amazing about that is with those three adjectives, what were they? Voluntary. Your credibility takes a hit. Unpaid, you're treading water massively, and then unofficial, you have just decided this yourself, you absolute muppet. Who are you kidding? Lie to yourself if you must, but not to me, says the judge. That's what I think happens next.
Yeah. So obviously he was arrested. Obviously he was charged. We end up... me and everyone else that followed this trial, this was 2 years long, this trial. I didn't want to talk about it until after it had resolved itself. But basically, he wanted to represent himself again, and he tried the same shit he tried in civil court. Now, none of us are lawyers, but I assume that we all know that if you can't use the same tactics you use in civil court in criminal cases, because civil court, while being just as important as criminal court, criminal court is taken a bit more seriously than civil cases. I'm not being
Yeah.
So he tried the same shit he tried in civil cases. He tried disqualifying judges. He tried filing motions. He tried all kinds of shit. Now, this ended up with his self-representation being taken away from him in a brilliant hour-long video that I can't show because it's an hour long. But he went down swinging, bless his heart, splurging a lot of useless information at the judge. But it ended up with his self-representation being taken away. Once his defense lawyer was running the show, suddenly any court appearance he was in went from being an hour long to 5 minutes. Imagine that. When I don't talk, that means one of you guys should talk.
Well, no, I'm saying, listen, that's how it should be. That you want to go ahead and put yourself in the position of saying as little as you can in those situations. That's my opinion. Don't say, just shut up and say what you need to say in as little
right. You don't want to aggravate the judge
Right.
before anything's even been decided.
Right.
Being a prick.
He aggravated the judge. How he got away without a contempt charge during his trial, I will never know. The judge was extremely lenient with him. Now, his trial, as you can imagine, was a shit show. He was backseat lawyering the entire time because, as I said, he considers himself to be a legal genius. Now, I'm going to show you one clip. This comes from Law Talk with Mike, originally from our Nevada Judges. Again, the links to all these channels are in the description. Credit where credit's due, because this is what really screwed him. Now, this is the closing arguments from the prosecution. Now, we've all seen trials, I imagine, and we all know that when closing arguments are going on, you're not supposed to talk, right?
Right.
Not supposed to.
Yeah. This is what Kim Blandino did. Now, this is the prosecutor, Michael Dickerson. That's the Judge Levitt. That's Ben Bateman. Kim Blandino is behind Ben Bateman. Now, we're going to watch what Kim Blandino decided to do during closing statements. And I think the prosecution put on a strong case. I think that he was going to get a conviction anyway, but I think this is what sunk it.
The audio is shoddy.
I can't hear that, Richard, very well. Just letting you know. I'm just saying I can't hear that very well.
Yeah, none of us can, I don't think, sadly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Uno momento. We'll do this again then.
Did we watch a thing on this together, or did I just discover this on my own? Because I actually know this story.
We might have done this together. Okay, where are we at? It's only a minute long, so we can just...
I'm not supposed to be like this.
Okay. Can you hear it now?
I mean,
That's
Yes.
way better.
definitely putting himself out to be a martyr. But if you aren't doing it, if you aren't having fun, you aren't doing it right. Doing it because he's having fun. And then it goes further. In that April 25th, 2019 letter, it wasn't just about this
I'm
letter.
sorry. I gotta stop. He's not supposed to be like this. He's trying to taunt me. Stop. He's trying to kill me. Stop. I would ask, can you invite Mr. Dickerson not approach the defense table? I'm sorry.
Okay.
If he can say, he's trying to taunt me, Judge. Stop talking. Purposely. He knows he's trying to taunt me. So this is, and I'm making a bar complaint against you. I'm making a bar complaint against you, Mr. Dickerson. I will get these jobs, and I will make a bar complaint against you.
Mr. Blandino, stop.
If I would have done this, you would have told me immediately not to do that.
Wow, they're being so lenient with him.
It's inappropriate for him to come here multiple times, and you know that, Judge.
Wow.
This isn't allowed. He is permitted to walk around the.
You would not let me do that if I were representing myself. If I were going over to the prosecution.
I'm sorry. Look, I was just asking, you give me a look. If he doesn't,
And that's what he did during closing arguments.
How is he not just expelled from, like, why didn't they just remove him from the courtroom?
Yeah,
I don't think you can.
he could have been found in contempt.
Absolutely.
Right, but at the same time, can you convict somebody in absentia? That's a
Yeah.
question.
You can convict someone in absentia, otherwise that phrase wouldn't exist. It's perfectly valid if a defendant can't control himself to be expelled from the courtroom and the trial carry on without them. That has happened. There is legal precedent.
That brings up an interesting question, though. Because a phrase exists does not mean something is real.
I really feel like yeah, okay.
I got you.
I know. I'm seeing what you're saying, but I mean, that struck me as funny. That's all. That's all. No, I get what you're saying, and the guy is obviously there, but I think that most judges, due to the fact that I think that is the grounds for an appeal, would want the person to be in the courtroom to the extent that it was. I mean, not only if you're a lawyer do you worry about this case, you worry about the appeal of this case. You see what I'm saying? If you're the judge, what is a judge realistically doing in a court in America? One is to try to make sure that it's as fair as possible and try to make it so that it's not appealable. And that's why I think, I mean, as much as we would say, "Oh, I'm frustrated with what the judge is doing," I think that's what they're trying to do. Doesn't mean that the guy's not a complete douchebag. I mean, I think, part of the problem is we as laymen looking at this say somebody should just kick him in the nuts and make him sit down, But that's the law is the law, and sometimes the law is very frustrating to the average person. That's all. I'm not trying to pick on you, Richard.
I know.
Okay.
I'm just saying that is closing arguments in front of the jury. That's what he did. And he could have been found in contempt and still sat in the courtroom.
Right. You are right.
I don't know how he dodged a contempt charge. I really don't. That was so inappropriate, it wasn't even funny. I mean, the whole trial, when he testified on behalf of himself, his own lawyer was sitting there with his head in his hands like, just shut up, man. Just shut up.
Right.
What did his lawyer try to do at the end there? Just to wash his hands of the case and say, I'm out or something?
No, he tried to make a case that the prosecutor was trying to bait Mr. Blandino, and even if he was, I don't see how that's illegal to show the jury that Mr. Blandino is an unhinged maniac.
Well, but they would not say that prejudice. You know, like what I'm saying is that when in America,
prejudice. Miss Blandino turned up for the first day of his trial wearing a bright red pro-Trump T-shirt. Just
right?
he tried his hardest to get a mistrial before.
Right. But all I'm saying is you know, like, for example, if somebody has a case of aggravated assault against women, and then they get charged with rape, a lot of times those previous convictions can't be brought up because then it's like you're trying to prejudice the trial against this person, and so whether you know you think to yourself that doesn't make any sense, right? The guy's got a history of it. Why can't we know that as you know, jurors or whatever? But then the people would say, well, that's you knowing information that would you know, change your opinion of this person.
They don't always adhere to that, though.
No.
I mean, you're not supposed to find a woman's sexual background and put it into play in court during a rape case, but
Oh,
it
yeah, but
happens
they always
all
do
the
that.
time.
Yeah. Well,
But
that's
legally, you're not supposed to. So,
right.
I mean, just
But
because
that's
you're not
but again that's
supposed to.
but then again, unfortunately, and I will say this, Nikki, I agree with you that the victims' rights are often trampled on more than the accused rights. In other words, they would, so you know, people would argue again that anyway, that you're right, and it's sad, and I don't agree with it. But that's
But I was more agreeing with you, but also saying that just because that's the way it's supposed to be, it doesn't mean that that's necessarily.
Oh yeah. Oh no, you're right. But I'm just saying I've seen it in the same trial where one person's saying, no, you can't bring up his sexual crime past, and then they proceed to talk about the victim's sexual, you know, her sexual past.
Right.
Well, you can see that in the same trial sometimes where it's like, on the one hand, it's this, and on the other hand, it's that. And that is disgusting and wrong, but that's unfortunately, I don't know. Maybe that wasn't, maybe the rape thing was not a good example because that's a sticky situation. Anyway.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I'm sorry. I was just
no,
using it. I apologize.
No, I completely agree with you, but that could be a program in itself, to be honest with you. Why is it that that happens? But anyway, go ahead, Richard.
I was going to let you guys talk. I mean, he was found guilty, obviously, of impersonation and extortion. His sentencing is in July.
So how long do you think he'll get? Do you think that he'll...
A lot of the lawyers reckon a year at the most. He'll get credit for time served. He spent a lot of his time before the trial in jail. So he was originally released on remand, and then he didn't show up for cases because the coronavirus happened. And, of course, showing up to court wearing a mask impacted on his religious beliefs. So he refused to show up. So they let him do the Zoom thing, but he didn't show up for some of those as well. So eventually he was just remanded into jail.
Yeah, this is one of those things where it's been a very strange thing where I think a lot of times people that would have gone to jail didn't go to jail. I think that's one of those things as much as people were saying, oh, well, this is like, you know, oh, well, this is the fascist government taking over, making you wear a mask. You weren't getting pulled over for speeding, most likely. You weren't getting taken to jail because you were beating on your wife, most likely. all I'm saying is certain crimes that people were committing, they weren't ending up in jail. They were being sort of personal PR'd and sent home so that they wouldn't be in a coronavirus environment. And then, that's that. So, I mean, it's always a double-edged sword with this kind of stuff. On the one hand, they're just trying to keep people out of jail. And it sounds like this guy just totally profited from it, or was trying to go ahead and, be in a situation of, trying to use that to his advantage. So it's certainly always interesting. That's all I'm saying. On the one hand, I mean, it's always painted one way. That's all I'm saying. And it's very.
What do you think, Tom? You've been quiet.
What about this guy in this case?
Yeah.
I'm not familiar enough with the sort of legal system in America to know just how great a transgression speaking up during closing comments is. I mean, would it be the same in Britain? Or if not, is there sort of a British courtroom equivalent you could imagine to sort of gauge me to the seriousness of this?
I don't know. We haven't had a case like this. All I can direct you to is the channel Artie's Corporate Fiction, which has a really good deep dive on the whole Kim Blandino saga. I've just given you a very abridged version. Suffice to say, he likes to represent himself and he doesn't behave himself in court.
But just Tom there for that standpoint, Richard. I mean, if you are in a criminal court in Britain, you're in a dock. You're not allowed to just roam around the courtroom. It's not like you can just do that. You're in, you come up from below, usually, into the dock, and you stand there for whatever. I mean, maybe you could yell from the dock and try to, say this and that. But all I'm saying is that, yeah, you could interrupt verbally a case, but I don't think physically you could do it. That would be the difference between that. Whenever Tom's considering that,
Okay. So is it pretty much unheard of to interrupt somebody during closing comments?
No, it's not unheard of, but it is contemptible. It happened famously during the O.J. Simpson trial. The defense interrupted the prosecution numerous times with objections.
During closing, what's it called? What's the proper name for it? Not closing comments.
Closing
arguments.
That's it. Yeah. And is that like the last word you have before the jury go to deliberate?
Right.
Yeah. And that's what Mr. Blandino, legal genius, decided to do, was paint himself like a maniac.
So who was the guy, when the video starts, who is the guy walking around speaking to begin with?
That's Mike Dickerson, prosecutor.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
He did a sterling job. His prosecution, his closing arguments was vicious. And when he got to cross-examine Mr. Blandino when he took the stand, it was also pretty harsh. He came out strong.
Has anyone of you done jury service?
No, I always say he must be guilty, otherwise they wouldn't have arrested him, so they let me go home.
Well, but I'm not allowed to. I've been convicted of a crime, so therefore, even though it's a misdemeanor, I don't think that they would let me. I don't know. Maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't. But from that standpoint, I would imagine because I had certain circumstances, I don't think they would allow me to be on a jury either. But from the standpoint of that, I will say that my wife worked in a court for my first wife. My first wife for years and years and years. I've been in a lot of different courts, but I would say that part of the issue with it all is that you are using, even though Richard says this is different from what sovereign citizens do, it's actually probably not that different. To see this type of behavior in a courtroom and around here is definitely not. So
It is sovereign citizen tactics to delay and filibuster the trial as much as possible.
right,
Just
but
throw a lot of nonsense at the judge and expect it to
right, but famously there was a case of a guy named Gavin Syme who ended up like collapsing in a courtroom because he thought it was against his constitutional rights to do that, and he was dragged out by two officers in a court, and so I mean, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is the type of guy. I mean, we had another person who wanted to he had a $100 fine for his speeding ticket, so he went to the to the bank and got $100 worth of pennies and brought it in a unwrapped them all, and then brought them in and then put them in a wheelbarrow and then tried to pay with that.
that's a sovereign citizen tactic.
Yeah. Well, which is funny because they did that with my wife was in charge of the court, and she said we don't have to accept anything more than $25 in unwrapped coins. So then the guy had to go back and wrap all the money back up. But it does help whenever you know the law. So that's fine. So don't try to pay at a court around here if my wife's in charge of it and you try to pay in pennies.
Well, yeah, so that's the legend of Kim Blandino.
Yeah.
But when do we wait to see his the sentencing?
July.
Okay. Well, do make sure we check back in then.
Obviously. And, there are several people in the community, like Keeping It Criminal, Law Talk with Mike, who don't think that he's going to make it to July. Because, obviously he's out on remand right now. Convicted. He's convicted felon. He was already convicted felon. I mean, but he's convicted of this crime. There's no presumption of innocence anymore. He's out on remand on a stay of liberty, which means house arrest. And he's going to, everyone thinks he's going to screw up. And he's already filed his appeal. His appeal, I don't think he's got any merit. He's filing a motion for new trial on the basis that he was denied his Sixth Amendment right to represent himself. And I'm like, the court gave you more than enough leeway with that. And they really did. Again, another instance of why he was never found in contempt, I do not know. But so he's going to try and appeal. He's got, knowing him, he's going to do all sorts.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's always the way it is, though. I mean, from that standpoint, when you're talking about any country that has rights, and you should have the rights to do all these different things. Obviously, you can't. There's going to be people who take it to the extreme. That's all, and then this cat's going to take it to the extreme, and people love to hate people like that. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people, including this guy, who should be getting a life and doing something with it instead of wasting everybody's time. But he clearly thinks he's smarter than the system, and I don't know what that gets you. After you go through life and you get to your 70, 75 years, you die anyway, and it doesn't matter if you were smarter than the system. Because I don't know if there's a heaven. Do you think that St. Peter's going to let you get by on a technicality? That somebody's going to be like, yeah, well, according to this, I have the right to do that, St. Peter.
That's what it says in the Bible in Corinthians.
Right.
I can just go on through.
Right. Yeah. That's
It's one of them, isn't it? You know, he thinks he's a Christian man. He's not a Christian man. He's just running a one-man worship me cult. You know, he's similar to Dr. Johnson in that respect.
Well, I mean this is the thing about the many Christians, and I'm not. I mean, I am a baptized Christian, still and everything like that. And I will just say, from that standpoint, there's a vast difference of opinion about what that means. You know, some people think that's it. I've been baptized. I'm getting in. You know what I mean? And some people think, okay, well, you're responsible for your behavior after you're baptized, so therefore you need to be careful about it. And some people say, no, that's it. You know, you just have to ask for forgiveness, and so I'm just saying, there's a when it comes down to all these different things, there's a big various differences of opinions between what Christians think, and that's it. I mean, I don't know if people realize that Christianity is not as monolithic as people think it is. You know, definitely. There's lots of different ideas about that. You know, obviously, you can't be Roman Catholic or Presbyterian or whatever and show up to a Greek Orthodox service and know exactly what you're doing.
Oh,
So we've got to wrap it up because Tom's got to leave.
Okay.
So.
No, just gonna one more final point, if I may, because I've actually got something half useful to say, perhaps. One of the I've got some friends who are Christians and they are English and they live out in America and go to a church in Colorado. And one of the things they find really, really surprising is some people's attitude to the vaccine there. Whilst many Christians are thanking God for it, others are saying, I'm absolutely not having it. I don't believe in it at all. And I would rather, and even when people are getting up in church and saying that, and they're then literally dying, and our friend Claire's talking to people about that, they say, well, I'd rather have my freedom and die than have that jab. I just don't trust it. Mm-hmm. And that has had some people, and some Christians are very, very surprised to hear other Christians say that.
Right. I mean, and I think that's one of those things where, again, this is the thing where you get into a situation where, you know, changes in dogma, and so I mean, because there's nothing in the Bible that says, to my knowledge, that says don't get a vaccination. You know, people will put that, maybe, say, oh, well, this says you have the right to do this or the right to do that, but at the same time,
vaccinations, literally played an important part in America becoming independent in the first place.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. I mean, that's a thing about inoculation, but I mean, part of the problem with that, Richard, is people think that, again, America is based on Christian ideals, and to some degree that's true, and to many degrees it's not. But that's an argument that you can have later on. But again, on the one hand, everybody hates Freemasons because they're Illuminati, and on that's one hand,
they are not. Freemasons and the Illuminati are completely different.
Well, I understand, but a lot of people say that, right? But on the other hand, Benjamin Franklin, George Washington, probably Thomas Jefferson, lots of the people who, a third of the generals in the Revolutionary War were Freemasons. So, you can't have it both ways. It can't.
They were Freemasons, but they weren't Illuminati.
Right. I understand. You see what I'm saying. You can't. The conspiracy theory has to go both ways. That's all I'm saying. And most people don't realize that.
All right, so that'll wrap us up this week. We will return next week, despite the hopes of many. Kevin, what are we talking about next week?
I had it. I had it in my head, and I just give me.
Dude, I gave you plenty of warning.
No, I know, and then I had it. I should have just blurted it out whenever I was saying it. Oh, Shackleton. This week they find Shackleton's ship.
The Endurance.
Under the water. And I think many people don't know, like, the James Bondian Herculean task of Shackleton whenever he basically brought his man back after the ship was wrecked.
Yeah. Let's do that. Let's talk about that next week. Good call, Kevin.
Yeah. See, I just remember.
All right, everyone's balls deep on the Endurance, but no one cares about Kim Blandino or bird watching or EastEnders.
And I'll tell you what, Shackleton would have loved a bird.
And on that note of Richard's lamentations, good night, everybody.
Good night from me, and it's good night from the lads and ladette. Good night. Just go soon.